again. Welcome back to our last lesson of this series on dominion and our final Wednesday night of meeting together for the month of March. And I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed teaching it. And I hope when we return back to life groups for the month of May, that not only will you be excited to get back into it, but you'll also be inviting a guest, a coworker, a family member, a friend, a neighbor, someone to come in and join you. Like always, I want to start off by thanking your host. We appreciate so much you opening your home to us. It is truly a sacrifice, and we want you to know first, as pastor and my precious wife and this church, we appreciate so much. Would you give them a hand of appreciation? Thank you very, very much for opening your home. And thank you all who have been there to be faithful. And not only have you been faithful, but you help. You help clean up afterwards. You make sure that the house is somewhat brought back to normal after all those people leave, helping that host. We appreciate you as well. What a fantastic Sunday service that we just had. Isn't God been just doing incredible things? All the people receiving the Holy Ghost, getting baptized, the Spirit of God just moving so powerfully like it has been. This is an exciting time to be a part of Life Church, and I'm looking forward to the other things God is going to be doing in our future. Let me make just a couple of announcements here. First of all, starting tomorrow and Friday, our ladies are going to be heading to Ladies Conference. We're very excited for them. If by any chance you're still on the fence and trying to decide, one of you ladies that you want to go, please see Sister Barone, get some details. Even if you go up for just one service, I promise you, you will enjoy being in a service where all ladies are there, ladies ministering to ladies. It's going to be a great time. Also, Friday night, the youth, Rudy Youth, will be coming to the Scheck-Snyder household, and we're going to be having a barbecue 7 p.m. Starting at 7 p.m. youth barbecue at my house, and then we would ask you to pick them up at 9 o'clock, 7 to 9. We're going to have a wonderful time this Friday. And then, of course, Sunday, we're right on back on our normal service schedule, 10 o'clock for Christian development, and then 11 o'clock for our worship service. And we know God has some great things in store for us. Okay, let's take a look into our Dominion series. Now, we've talked about dominion in general, about how God blessed us to be dominant, to have dominion. It was a part of the package when God created man. So we talked about dominion in general in our lives. Then we talked about getting dominion over ourselves. And we talked about some key areas that a person needs to have dominion in their own lives, their mind, their emotions, and their body. And then we talked about dominion over the enemy last Wednesday and how we have power to overcome, that we've been given the power from God to rebuke devils and to take authority and dominion over the principalities and the spiritual wickedness in high places. And we understood in our study last Wednesday that taking that dominion kind of shifts our way of thinking, that we're not just focusing on people, but we focus on the spirits that's driving the people. And hopefully this made you not so mad at your neighbor or at your ex or your boss. Maybe that teaching allowed you to say, hey, I'm not going to be mad at them because I'm not fighting flesh and blood. Yet I am fighting the spirit that's on their little shoulder, whispering in their ears and doing all the things they can do to attack me. I now take authority over them. So we talked about dominion in general, dominion of self, and dominion over the enemy, spiritual warfare. And so tonight we have our last section of dominion that we're going to focus on. And tonight we're going to be talking about dominion over the devourer. Dominion over the devourer. Now, you've heard that phrase before, devourer. And so we're going to take a good look at it and see what the Bible says about it and how we can have dominion over the devourer. Let's take a look in your notes. Malachi, the 3rd chapter. We'll read verse 11 and verse number 12. And it says, I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes. And notice, he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground. Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith the Lord of hosts. And all nations shall call you blessed, for ye shall be a delightsome land, saith the Lord of hosts. So God makes it clear to us in your notes that there is something, if not checked by him, without his check, his protection, there is something that will eat up our blessings. That's your fill in. That will eat up our blessings. So there is something out there that will destroy the blessings coming your way. And let's take a look here at the scriptures a little bit more, and we'll go to the 8th verse and we'll read 9 and 10. Notice what it says here. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee, or how have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even the whole nation. And notice verse 10, bring ye all the tithe into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me, that means test me, prove me, now herewith saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. So we understand from the scripture here that God says there's a curse, and that curse is the curse of the devourer. So how do we keep the devourer away? How do we get protection from the devourer? In your notes, he made it clear. How do we keep the devourer away? Tithes and offerings. That's your fill in. Tithes and offerings. When a man or woman consistently practices tithing and offerings, this allows God to block the devourer, to stop him from eating up blessings in your life. You know, there are sometimes blessings that we didn't even know we missed because the devourer gobbled it up. But tonight in this lesson, we're going to take dominion over the devourer in our lives. So let's take a look in your notes. Since we're talking about tithes and offering, we're going to ask a few questions and answer them biblically as we look into ways to stop the devourer. So we pose the question, what is a tithe? A tithe, by definition, is a tenth. That's your fill in. A tithe, by definition, is a tenth. When a person tithes, they are returning 10% of their income to God. Why do we give a tithe? Here's it in simple. Because God has claimed it. Look in your notes at Leviticus 27 and 30. And all the tithe of the land, whether of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's. And we put that in bold there for you. Is the Lord's. And it's holy. That means separated unto the Lord. So we know by other scriptures that the fullness of the earth is God's, that God owns everything. But here he puts special emphasis. He's saying it's all mine, but this 10% is very special to me. It's holy. It's separated. So we want to ask the question, well, why did God institute tithing? Where did this come from, and why would he do it? And so the best way to answer this is to go to the Bible. And the Bible tells us that when God brought the people out of Egypt, and through Moses for a portion of time, and then through Joshua, his successor, when he brought them to the promised land, when they got there, God divided the land up by each of Jacob's sons. They all got a portion of land. They got the portion of land to work it, to plan on it, to live. It was the promised land. This is where their income would come, their livelihood would come. Each son got a portion of land, with the exception of one. One son was not given land. Levi. The Levites did not get an inheritance of the land. And the Bible tells us why. You'll find these scriptures in Deuteronomy 10 and 8 and 9, also in Joshua 13 and 33. The reason why Levi did not get a portion of land like his brothers was because God was separating them to be the priesthood. And the Levites would not get a portion of land because they were not given a field to work in like the other brothers, because they would be working in God's field. God said, I'll be their inheritance. I'm going to take care of the Levites. Now, the rest of you, you get a portion of land. You're going to work it. I'm going to bless you. You're going to be able to live from this and be sustained. But the Levites, they are going to work for me. They're going to work in my field, and I'm going to take care of them. So this is where tithing was instituted, because he then tells them, because Levi is working for me and you're getting a bigger portion and he's not getting that portion, because they're working in my field, you'll take 1/10 of all your increase and bring that to the house of God. And that's how Levi will be paid and will live by the tithe. So this is where it started, way back when they first came into the promised land. So the next question in your notes, point C, when should a person return those tithes? When should you pay tithe? And the answer is this in your notes: it should be first. That's your fill in. First. When do we return God's tithe? It's first. Look at Proverbs 3 and 9 in your notes. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So we give to God first of all of our increase. So when a person is tithing, you're taking 10% of your gross income and you're returning that to the Lord. And you're doing it first. Now, the way we're set up here, for all of you who are not working for yourself, at least the way America does, the government has already set up to where there's bills paid for you when you get paid. How many of you understand that just for solid numbers, let's say you take a job making $10 an hour, let's say, just for a number. Well, you work 40 hours a week. How many of you know that you don't bring home $400? I know. And we could have a debate all night at the bill that we have to pay to live in America. And some states, the bill is higher, and we could debate that, but that's not tonight's discussion. But you pay a bill to live in America. That bill gives you roads to drive on, clean water, and restrictions on foods, and people to protect you, and red lights, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. These are the bills that you pay to live in America. We call it taxes. Well, the government has already set it up to where before you even take anything home, they make you pay that bill. And there may be some of you who you got children, you're not living with their mother, who the government is helping you pay that bill. And so before you even take money home, they've already taken that out of your check as well. And then some of you are maybe wise in investing in your future, and you're having money pulled out to go to 401k, and you're taking that out. So when we look at our paychecks, we want God to be first. Now, we could take a dogmatic approach to this and frustrate the process, but I think God knows our heart. And so we just know what we made. We know what we're being paid. And before everybody else is paid, we understand, here's the amount. I'm going to return that to God. And so we give that tithe, the first, to the Lord. And that is what tithing is. It's giving the first fruits of your income to the Lord. And that's what we do when we tithe. So in your notes, what is an offering? Well, an offering is anything really given to God by free will. That's your fill in. By free will. Anything really given to God by free will. Offerings are more than just monetary. It's more than just money. Other examples are our time. Your time is an offering. You coming to the house of God on Sunday and on Monday nights for prayer, and then back for midweek service, you being at life groups tonight, you coming to the church cleanup, time is an offering. Our giving our lives to the Lord, that's an offering. Our energy, our emotions. I think you got it. It's more than just money. It's giving to God. So I give to God free will, and that's an offering to the Lord. And so we take dominion over the devourer when we return tithe and we give offerings. Now, we understand that tithe is a tenth. We know exactly how much that is. That's a 10%. But an offering, that's totally up to you. You get to measure that one. You get to decide what and how much that you give to the Lord. And we give that free will out of our excitement. We give that with the 90% left over of our money. We say, okay, I want to bless the Lord this way with the offering. By doing this, when a person with a good spirit, and I should have put this in your notes, but we hit this a lot on Sunday, and so you hear it, that it matters how we give as much as what we give, because the Lord loves a cheerful giver. So when our spirit's right and we return the tithe and give an offering, we start something in the spirit realm where God then steps up and God will rebuke the devourer that's operating in our life. And so the only way for us to take dominion over the devourer is to be consistent in our tithing and in our offering. Notice what he said, verse 11. He said, I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes. See, we get God rebuking. Now you say, I thought we could rebuke, Pastor. We absolutely can. But how would you like to get God to rebuke? Oh, now that's something different. I mean, yes, I have power to do things, but when the Creator says, stop it, that's what I want. I want God saying, no, you can't mess with this one. You can't touch this one. So God says, I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes and will not allow him to destroy the fruits of your ground. Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before time in the field. So the Lord is saying here, I'm going to stop things that are trying to stop you. Now you think about how powerful that is, because we're not just talking about money. I want God to rebuke the devourer in every area of my life. Any place that the devourer would like to come in and gobble up my blessing, I want the Lord to rebuke him. I want God to rebuke him where he doesn't destroy the fruits of my ground. I don't want to miss out on blessings. because the devourer gobbled them up. I don't want, as it said, my fruit to cast her fruit before time. That means that it grew, but it dropped before it was ripe. It didn't work. The plan didn't work. I don't want plans that I'm making and to put together for it not to work because of the devourer messing it up. No. God will rebuke the devourer. Everything we planted won't be destroyed. We won't miss out on extra blessings. The plans that we're making, if they're in God's will, of course, but the plans that we're making will come to fruition. We will be blessed, and God will have his hedge of protection around us. So when we take dominion over the devourer, what we're doing in essence is putting God first. When God becomes first, so I look at my finances and I say, this is first fruits. I'm giving it to God. And then I give an offering. That will be more than just money. I will give a financial offering, but I give my time. I give my energy. I give my emotion. When I give those offerings, what I am doing is coming under the umbrella of God to where he says, I'll open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. If you really get into studying this, it's not a one-time deal where God just opens the window, dumps something out, and then slams it shut. No. When you really get into it, it's God saying, I've opened the window. It will remain opening. So if it's remained open, when you need something, it's very easy to pour it out. Pour it out. Whatever you need, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. I don't know about you. I want to live under an open window that when I say to the Lord, I need help, that it just comes pouring out. Checks just show up in the mail. I didn't even ask for the bonus. Got it. Didn't ask for the pay raise. They just called me in the office and said, we're giving out raises. Here you are. Now, I almost took time tonight, and I should have. I really should have, but we're trying to keep these lessons as concise as possible because we want there to be discussion. But I should have just went down the list of reading just in this year, since January, the people who've turned in praise reports. Over and over. Look what happened, Pastor, because the window of heaven is opened. Look what happened. Look at this blessing. Look at this blessing. Look at this blessing. When you take dominion over the devourer, you can live with full confidence. God is always going to take care of me. There's no greater feeling than going to bed at night and knowing God is going to take care of me. So I hope this lesson has blessed you tonight. I hope you've determined to take dominion over the devourer. And maybe if you're new to this, you may be going, wow, this is a new concept. Start next paycheck. The first paycheck you get it going. Get that devourer rebuked. And if you've been tithing, stay faithful. Stay with it. You already know what I'm talking about, the blessing that comes. This is how we take dominion over the devourer. And once we do this, the sky is the limit. God's blessings will flow. We've rebuked the curse. We've rebuked the devourer. And when the curse and the devourer has been rebuked, we have dominion in our finances. God bless you. I hope you enjoyed this. Please have a great discussion. I'll see you back on Sunday. God bless you.